Welcome to the Daily Vibecasting. Today, a massive tech giant bans the world's hottest AI coder. Just as autonomous hackbots hit the wild, the big three AI labs prepare for a July collision, and the vibe shift from America's 250th birthday collides with a crushing housing crisis.
I mean, it is just a phenomenal newswire today, but if you really want to understand the stakes here, you have to look past the shiny new product features and, the viral benchmark scores on your timeline.
Right.
Beneath all this hype, we're seeing just tectonic shifts in financial liability and enterprise regulation. Like, the critical question isn't what these models can do anymore. The question is, well, who pays the multi-million-dollar bill when they break something? And who's quietly pulling up the drawbridge to protect their own data?
Exactly. And our mission today is to take that raw stack of the most viral posts driving the conversation, strip away the noise, and extract the signal. And for you listening, to find that signal, we have to start with the highest stakes story on the board.
Yeah, let's get into it.
We are looking at a massive collision between corporate security, geopolitics, and weaponized artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
So TechCrunch is reporting that Alibaba is officially banning its entire engineering team from using Anthropic's Claude code.
Wow.
Yeah, effective July 10th. They're literally labeling it high-risk software and forcing their developers to pivot back to an internal tool called Coder.
Well, see, Anthropic already enforces strict rules preventing Chinese companies from accessing its frontier models. They do that to guard against data exfiltration, right?
Right, yeah.
And specifically against model distillation, which, for you listening, is the practice of using a massive billion-dollar model's outputs to secretly train a cheaper local model on the side.
Right, but that's just the macro geopolitical layer, I mean.
Exactly. The more cynical second-order question is whether Alibaba's C-suite is merely posturing for regulators, or if they are genuinely terrified of the internal threat this software poses to their own code base.
And if you look at what dropped in the open source community, literally hours after the Alibaba news, that fear seems entirely justified.
Oh, absolutely.
There's this viral release from the user at elder_Plinius, who goes by Pliny the Liberator online. He just dropped a project called T3MP3ST.
Yeah.
And it is an open source, autonomous red teaming platform. In plain English, he wrote a framework that transforms a standard, helpful coding agent like Claude into an offensive security swarm.
Which fundamentally changes the threat landscape.
Yeah.
Because Pliny didn't just give the AI a new system prompt,
Right.
He strapped actual offensive cybersecurity tools directly into the AI's logic loop. He integrated tools like Nmap and Nuclei.
Now, let's break those down for anyone not working in cybersecurity. What does it actually mean to give an AI those specific tools?
Okay, so think of the AI as a highly intelligent but blind lockpicker. Giving it map is like giving it a pair of eyes and a map of a massive hotel.
Yeah.
It allows the AI to scan a corporate network and find every single digital door and open window.
Well.
Right. And then Nuclei acts like a massive ring of master keys. So the AI walks up to every door and map found and automatically jiggles the handle using thousands of known exploits to see what pops open.
That is wild.
And Pliny aligned all of this to the messier ATT&CK framework, which is essentially the U.S. government's official playbook for how nation-state hackers operate. It's not just thinking, it is actively prowling the network.
And the benchmarks attached to this release should send a chill down the spine of literally any enterprise security team. I mean, it's boasting a 90.1% pass rate on the XDen black box challenges.
Yeah, that's absurd.
But the absolute picker is that it's successfully hunting zero-day 2026 CVEs.
Right.
For context, a CVE is a publicly disclosed cybersecurity vulnerability, and a 0-day means it's a flaw the software vendor has 0 days to fix because it was literally just discovered.
Exactly.
Pliny's AI swarm is finding novel exploits that were discovered after the model's training data cutoff. It isn't just regurgitating a Wikipedia article about a hack from 2024. It is actively doing network recon and inventing new ways to break in.
And furthermore, he released this under an AGPL 3.0 license.
Which is huge.
Yeah, that is a highly contagious open source license, meaning anyone who modifies and distributes this code must also make their changes completely public. The genie is entirely out of the bottle here.
It really is.
If an open source tool you can pull from GitHub today can execute complex web exploits autonomously just by plugging in a frontier model, traditional corporate security perimeters are completely obsolete. If an employee at a megacorp has Claude code humming in their terminal and they can suddenly give it fangs, to use Plainy's exact word. The internal attack surface becomes infinite. Alibaba is locking it down because leaving it open is a catastrophic liability.
I have to push back on the strategy of locking it down, though. Like, is Alibaba just executing the digital equivalent of banning calculators in math class? No, seriously. If an enterprise bans the most capable external tools out of fear, they force their developers to use inferior legacy tools like their internal coder. You fundamentally lose the global efficiency arms race if your engineers are fighting with one hand tied behind their backs.
Okay, sure, you might lose the efficiency arms race, but you survive the security audit. Capital's heavily favoring survival this quarter, you know?
Fair point. But developers are going to revolt if they're forced backward, primarily because the models themselves are accelerating at a blistering pace. The market is pricing in massive moves this month.
Wow, big time.
A post from @Polymarket shows traders pricing a 62% chance that Google unleashes its next Gemini Pro model on July 17th.
Right, because Google already delayed the rollout of Gemini 3.5 Pro from June to July to get more safety testing in.
Yeah, but they are desperately trying to match Anthropic's Mythos model, which has been just crushing complex coding tasks since its April preview.
And while Google and Anthropic are throwing billions at battling over the foundational brain, OpenAI seems to be attacking the daily workflow. There's this great post from @Mark_AI highlighting that OpenAI is quietly building a super app. They're taking the Codex desktop application and migrating all the core ChatGPT features directly into it.
Voice mode, persistent memory, project context.
All of it, unified into a single agentic environment. They're trying to stop treating AI as a chatbot in a browser tab and start treating it as the actual operating system you live inside.
But the fascinating part is that developers are completely divided on how to actually communicate with that new operating system.
Yeah, it's a mess.
We have a post from @ReSullivan, a YC26 founder, who is practically mocking Google's MCP framework.
Right, MCP.
Yeah, MCP stands for Model Context Protocols. It's essentially a standardized set of plugs that companies are trying to build so AI models can securely access local files and data.
Sure.
But Reese posted a video showing a tool gateway called executor.esh that lets Claude Code just bypass all those safe standardized plugs and directly manipulate the raw wires. His AI agent is just directly querying the Google Search Console live.
It's the raw API approach versus the standardized protocol approach. I mean, it is an absolute wild west of integration right now.
Definitely. And then you have engineers completely rethinking the sequence of how software is even built in the first place. Like a developer named @Delba_Oliveira is advocating for a totally different workflow.
Oh, the mermaid diagrams one.
Yeah. She argues that humans shouldn't even bother reading AI-generated code line by line anymore. Instead, her workflow requires prompting the AI to generate an HTML report containing mermaid architectural diagrams.
For those who don't know, Mermaid is a tool that turns text into visual flowcharts.
Right. So you make the AI draw a literal map of the modules, the function signatures, and the database seams. And only if that visual architecture makes logical sense do you actually authorize the AI to write the underlying code.
See, that visual blueprint workflow is brilliant because it directly addresses my central, cynical critique of this entire space.
Which is?
We are potentially just building incredibly fast engines for writing fundamentally terrible code.
Yeah, fair.
If you look at the underlying quality of what is being generated across the board, it is highly suspect. A user named @Scaling01 just posted a brilliant deep dive into the new GLM 5.2 model. This model shocked everyone by suddenly jumping from 22nd place to first place on the post-train bench leaderboard.
Wait, post-train bench is the benchmark that measures how well AI agents can independently improve smaller base models, correct?
Exactly.
It's essentially the metric for how well AI can automate AI research.
Precisely. But @Scaling01 proved that the spectacular results are completely hollow. The model's creators essentially hill-climbed the benchmark.
Oh, wow.
Imagine a student who manages to steal the answer key to a standardized test. They take the test, get 100%, and look like a genius on paper. But if you ask that student to apply that knowledge to a real-world problem, they completely freeze.
Right, they didn't learn the subject. They memorized the shape of the multiple-choice bubble sheet.
Exactly. The AI is overfitting its responses to pass the specific public evaluations, but in a real enterprise environment, the output is practically useless. It is a total facade.
And that brings us to the exact word sweeping the developer community right now: slop.
Ah, yes, slop.
That term is at the center of a massive viral debate between two huge coding creators, Theo and the Promidgen. They're having this incredibly public argument over whether AI is just flooding code bases with massive amounts of unreadable spaghetti code.
It's a great debate.
Right. And Theo made a phenomenal historical comparison. He argued that this exact same panic happened when NPM was first introduced for JavaScript.
Yeah, and for listeners who might not be JavaScript developers, NPM is the node package manager.
Right.
Before it existed, if you wanted a feature, you generally had to write it. After NPM, you could just import someone else's open source code with one line. But the side effect was that you ended up with massive tangled webs of thousands of nested dependencies that nobody on the team actually understood.
All just to run a simple web application. So AI is essentially doing the exact same thing, but instead of downloading an open source package, it hallucinates 500 lines of custom boilerplate that your team now has to maintain forever.
Yeah, and the Parmegian's counter-argument is critical here. He says it's like having an ultra-fast, automated bricklayer on your construction site.
Okay.
Yes, it can build a brick wall in 10 seconds flat, but it doesn't check if the foundation beneath the wall is level, and it doesn't care if the mortar is mixed properly.
Oh, that makes sense.
Right. You get a massive, impressive-looking structure instantly, but the moment you try to add a roof, the entire thing collapses under its own weight because the core integrity is rotten. Passive oversight allows the code base to degrade from the inside out.
But wait, if human review is kept strictly in the loop, isn't this AI just serving as an automated janitor for technical debt?
I mean,
Because I'm looking at an incredible success story posted by Adfadi from PlanetScale. They built specialized AI agents using the cursor editor that run end-to-end test sweeps constantly.
Right.
These agents hunt down the root causes of flaky database tests, fix them, and then automatically refresh all the company documentation every 6 hours by opening a pull request. A human engineer reads the request, verifies the logic, and merges it. If the AI is just the janitor mopping the floors and sweeping up the dust, that seems like an undeniable value add.
provided the human actually takes the time to read the pull request, absolutely.
Yeah.
But we have to follow this thread out of the software engineering department because the tooling is bleeding into entirely different, much higher stakes verticals.
Right. This is where the story shifts from enterprise efficiency into almost science fiction. Over the holiday weekend, a creator named Ammaar Reshi at Ammaar on X took the Claude Fable 5 model and natively ported the 2003 video game Command & Conquer, General Zero Hour, to the iPad.
Which is an incredibly complex real-time strategy game from 2 decades ago.
Yes. And he used the actual original engine. He didn't just wrap it in a slow emulator. He used the AI to translate the ancient legacy code and compile it natively for modern ARM64 architecture.
Unbelievable.
He even had the AI build full-touch controls for base building and tank movement. He open-sourced the whole thing on GitHub. A single developer, over a long weekend, single-handedly revived a 23-year-old legacy code base for sleek, modern mobile hardware.
Which demonstrates a staggering capability for translating and modernizing legacy code. But contrast that video game port with our next post from AI researcher Joe Shabak, who goes by at Plins.
Okay.
He is darkly joking about better Adderall because Stat News just broke a major report that Anthropic is actively using its new Claude Science AI workbench to launch actual drug development programs targeting neglected diseases.
So we are jumping from porting retro video games over a weekend to synthesizing biological treatments for human beings.
Exactly. And this exposes the massive delta in liability. Like, if Ammar's AI-ported video game crashes on level 3 because of a memory leak, it is mildly annoying.
Sure.
But what happens when Anthropic's AI-synthesized drug for a neglected disease hits a severe biological roadblock in phase 2 clinical trials?
Wow.
Who bears the liability when the hallucination isn't a line of HTML, but a molecular structure? The cost of failure in the physical biological world is catastrophic compared to the digital world. You cannot just open a pull request to fix a human biological side effect.
That stark contrast is the perfect lens for understanding the macro-cultural vibe of what is happening right now in July 2026. If you're listening to this, you have likely felt this exact friction. We are experiencing a culture clash between absolute digital abundance and extreme physical scarcity.
Yeah, the world is currently operating at 2 entirely different speeds, and it is tearing the social fabric.
I mean, we just celebrated America's 250th birthday. Gray Eisenberg at Grigesenberg posted this viral love letter to the U.S. talking about how it remains the one place on Earth where chasing a completely crazy idea makes people root for you, whether you're building a bizarre startup nobody asked for or launching a weird niche product. And you see that extreme ambition in the tech sector. A post from @DigiDaz highlights how founders are literally leaving massive, comfortable rocket ships like OpenAI and Tesla to build entirely new giants from scratch, citing companies like Perplexity and Asana.
They're leaving because in the agent-native era, the barrier to building a digital product has dropped to practically zero.
Exactly. Lenny Rachitsky shared a piece of advice from Phil Chen that captures this perfectly. Chen points out that if AI agents excel at execution and coding tasks, human value is no longer about raw output. Your value in 2026 is entirely about relationship building, holding extreme ambition, and most importantly, problem selection.
But look closely at the problems these brilliant minds are actually selecting.
Go.
While a generation of talent is endlessly building AI super apps and digital agent swarms, our physical reality is breaking down.
Yeah, the Wall Street Journal just published a massive report highlighting a rare bipartisan consensus. America's housing shortage has become catastrophic.
It really has.
We are facing chronic underbuilding, massive local zoning issues, and intense demand pressures from immigration. It has created a supply deficit where rent and home prices are now completely divorced from local median incomes.
And this specific friction is defining the current culture. You can see this raw nerve exposed in a massively viral post from a user named @Ong Sidewalks.
Oh, I saw this one.
The post has 1.6 million views and over 123,000 likes. It essentially laments that humanity was gifted a planet full of trees, fresh fruit, and sunshine, and traded it all away by inventing debt, capitalism, and war.
Yeah, and the replies to that post are just a war zone of polarized worldviews.
Complete war zone. You have half the replies vehemently blaming capitalism for the housing crisis, the debt traps, and modern misery.
Right.
Then you have the other half pointing out that pre-modern human existence was defined by relentless famine and astronomical mortality rates, and arguing that capitalism incentivized the very agriculture and medicine that raised global living standards in the first place.
Now, to be crystal clear to you listening, we are not sitting here debating the historical merits of capitalism or endorsing a specific political fix for the housing crisis.
No, not at all.
We are purely reporting on the immense friction vibrating through the source material today. You have this high-flying rocket ship tech economy running at the speed of light, colliding violently with a physical economy that feels completely stuck in the mud.
It is the ultimate dichotomy of our time.
Let me throw an analogy at you.
Go for it.
Is the housing crisis fundamentally just the legacy code base of the physical world?
Oh, that's an interesting way to put it.
Right. In the software ecosystem, we have tools to refactor everything instantly. A developer named Shad Pixon just posted that his open source UI ecosystem hit 1 million apps built. You can spin up a beautiful, fully accessible web interface in seconds using his code. But we have no open source API to refactor a local zoning law. Look at SpaceX. They launched 29 Starlink satellites into low Earth orbit from Florida today. We can literally put high-speed internet into the vacuum of space, but we cannot secure a municipal permit to build a 1,500 square foot starter home.
Because software doesn't have to sit through 3 hours of local community board meetings.
So true.
Software doesn't require physical timber and copper drawn from geopolitically constrained supply chains. Software is frictionless.
Right.
And when you have an entire generation of top-tier talent that is conditioned to the frictionless reality of the digital world where, an AI can port a massive video game to an iPad over a long weekend, they look at the physical world and see nothing but arbitrary, maddening friction. So they retreat back into the digital world to build another app, leaving the physical world to continue resting.
That is so dark, but it leaves us with the ultimate question for you, the listener. We are officially entering an era of absolute digital abundance, where you can spin up an autonomous hack bot or rewrite an entire application architecture before your morning coffee paired with extreme physical scarcity. Where do you and where does your career fit into a world that is moving at two completely incompatible speeds?
And if you want a specific prediction for tomorrow based on the trends we've unpacked today, watch for the regulatory hammer.
Oh, yeah.
As AI stops being just a cute chatbot in a browser and starts acting as an autonomous agent, tapping live APIs, hunting zero-day vulnerabilities, and designing pharmaceuticals, we are going to see a panic wave of enterprise lockdown protocols.
You really think so?
Absolutely. What Alibaba did today by banning Claude Code internally, that defensive crouch is going to be the standard corporate policy across the Fortune 500 by the end of the quarter.
The digital perimeter is closing fast. Well, that is all the time we have for today's deep dive. Stay curious, keep your eyes on the second-order effects, and we will catch you tomorrow.